recording. Here we go. As far as business for the club goes, we are due to have elections, and I've reached out to a number of folks as potential candidates for the positions of director, as well as the other positions that other officer positions that are up for election. Specifically, the standard officer positions of chair-elect, secretary, treasurer, and then the number of directors that we have. And it's important that I also open the floor for nominations. So I'll put out a electronic vote next week with the slate of people who have already agreed to serve. But I'll also open it for any nominations that are coming from the floor. So if anybody has nominations tonight, please feel free to submit them. Or if you have nominations in the next few days, I'll close the nomination window, let's say Friday at 5, and I'll send a note out to the club so everybody knows that nominations are open. But I'll also include the list of candidates who have agreed for each of those positions. I'm thankful that a number of people have agreed to serve again, though it's always open for a little competition if you feel like you want to put your name in the hat. Beyond that, is there any particular personal or club business that needs to be shared before we get started?
Yeah. I was going to say I'd talk to Joyce, but I see her online.
Yeah.
Springfield College. So
Hi.
Worked out well.
hi.
Hi,
Glad you're back again. Hello.
Hey, Joyce.
Hi, Carl. Hi,
Well, I'm going to go ahead and see if I can manage participants here. I'm going to mute everyone. Oh, Susan, you had your hand up. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
Yeah, this is a quick announcement about the crawfish boil that we didn't have because of COVID. The plan right now, although it's not totally decided because we have to talk to the health department, is we're going to have in lieu of an event, we're going to have a drive-by event where you still get your food and other things, and it'll still be crawfish. It'll probably be June the 5th. And it's a drive-by where you pick up your meal or meals of crawfish and some other things that go along with it. And I think you get a couple of drinks too. I'm not sure about that, but we just discussed it. But don't go telling the world yet, but I just wanted to give y'all a heads up because there's a few of us that did buy or agree to buy tickets. And it'll still be food pickup at the Agri Center. And I don't know the times. So just a heads up on that. If you're interested in crawfish, you can still buy.
Not interested.
Okay,
Thank
that's
you.
it.
Any other announcements or business to share?
No, but that business arrangement might serve us well because that was really what was going to happen in the proposed idea for the Super Bowl spaghetti dinner that Carl had brought. So
Yeah.
if it works to do a drive-by, we can learn the details about that and consider another fundraiser. Okay.
Thank you, Pam. That's a great idea.
Bill,
See how it works out.
One last thing.
Sure.
We got contacted by the Census Bureau this week, and apparently the Memphis area in Tennessee is miserable in terms of the number of people that have filled out their forms.
Nice.
So they've asked the various Rotary clubs if they're willing to reach out to their friends, their members, their whatever, to let people know that this is really important because this funds schools, it funds public services, et cetera, if we have a certain population count. So I just put this out sort of as a PSA on their behalf that we need to encourage, first of all, our own members to fill out the census forms, but also if we have various organizations that we're members of and so forth, to let them know that this is so important because especially with COVID, you've got a lot of government agencies that really need some help right now because they've spent a lot or lost a lot in terms of revenue. So just trying to be a good citizen and, as a group, corporate citizen, so to speak, and do our part.
Thank you. That would be excellent. I'm seeing no other hands up. Nobody jumping in. I'm going to go ahead and hand it over to Ms. Katherine Russell, who's the Director of Philanthropy for the Memphis Area Humane Society. We're really thankful that you're willing to come and join us on this new format for us. Maybe not for you, but it's great to have you here, and thank you for coming to tell us about the Humane Society tonight.
All right, great. Thank you, Will. And thank you, all of you, for logging in to hear what I have to share about the Humane Society. This is a new and different format, but I'm getting very used to it. So Denise had asked me to talk a little bit about my background, and so I'll just fill those of you in that weren't on at the beginning. As Will said, I'm the Director of Philanthropy for the Humane Society, and that is the same as Director of Development. Director of Philanthropy is kind of the new way that development is described. And so I'm in charge of fundraising, and also I'm also in charge of the marketing for the organization and PR. So I spend a good part of my time just out talking to the community about the work that we do. And, you know, we find that sometimes it's good to get out and talk about our work because sometimes people don't realize everything that we do. And also, that we are separate from the city shelter. We are not the Memphis Animal Shelter. The Memphis Animal Shelter is our city shelter, or is the Memphis City Shelter. But the Humane Society, we are 100% a nonprofit. So we do not receive any government funding, no tax dollars. We also are not associated with other humane societies or the Humane Society of the United States or national animal welfare groups. And since we share the name countrywide, I think a lot of people assume that, and understandably, that the humane societies are all related, and we're not. So the Humane Society of Memphis, in Shelby County, we are funded completely by local dollars. And so that's a really important distinction, I think, because, you know, we are saving and serving local animals, and we are funded by local donors. But I have a presentation to share with you guys today. And then I can answer any questions that you have afterward if there are questions that I can't answer, but we'll figure that out. Whoops, I've got to. Okay, so the Humane Society of Memphis, we are an animal welfare organization, meaning that we serve homeless animals. We advocate for caring properly and treating animals with respect. We were established in 1933, so we've been around a really long time. We are located next to Shelby Farms Park. If you've ever driven down Farm Road, Shelby Farms is on your right, and toward the end, close to Mullen Station Road, you'll see the Humane Society, and we have a 22,000 square foot facility. As I said, we are a nonprofit, so we don't receive any government funding or funding from the National Humane Society organizations. The Humane Society, our service to the community is really in 4 broad categories. So that's rescue, adopt, educate, and serve. We rescue animals in need that are homeless, and we have people that bring animals to us that they find. And I'll talk a little bit about the different types of animals and the ways that they come to us. So we rescue animals in need, and I will tell you this: there are a lot of those in Memphis, and it's really unfortunate that Memphis has a lot of animal welfare problems, and a lot more than other cities and communities our size. So, you know, we have a lot of work to do, and that's what the Humane Society, we're rolling up our sleeves and we're doing that work. We adopt animals out into families. So the animals that come to us, we provide the medical care and love and training and rehabilitation, and then we adopt them into new and loving families. And then we also educate. we go out into the community and we educate people on how to properly care for a pet, how to be a responsible pet owner. In Memphis and in a lot of communities, if a child grows up in a home where with a dog tied to a tree in the front yard 24 hours a day, then they're going to grow up thinking that that's what pets do, or that pets primary purpose is for security in that way. And so it's important that we get out in the community and talk to people and share all the different important facets of being a responsible pet owner and what that should look like. And then we also serve Memphis. We do we serve a lot of low income pet owners. For example, we have 4 vaccine clinics every year where people that if they show us proof of income assistance of some sort, and we're very flexible actually on that, on what that is, then we'll vaccinate their pets for $5. Because for those of you that have a pet, you know that the vaccinations come with your annual pet visit, and someone that can't afford $125 annual visit, that might deter them from going and having their pets vaccinated. And it's better for animals, it's better for public health, for animals to have the vaccinations that they need. So that's an example of one of the ways that we serve Memphis, is with our vaccine clinics. So to talk a little bit more about those 4 facets, as I said, we rescue animals. We provide a safe place for them to recover. We offer nutrition. We have a veterinarian on staff named Dr. Mary Manspeaker, and she's really outstanding. She has a long-standing career in shelter medicine and a master's on top of her doctorate in shelter medicine, and then also is finishing a degree in forensic veterinary medicine, where she'll be able to kind of forensically identify animals that have experienced cruelty, and so that we can work toward getting to the bottom of those kinds of cases. A really important part of our work is that animals stay as long as they need to find their forever home. So we do not euthanize based on time or space. So if it takes 9 months for an animal to be adopted, then it takes 9 months, and that's okay. And that animal will always have a place with us. And our kennel staff is so excellent, and they are family to these animals for the time that they stay with us. And so, I think it's funny, some people when I tell them I work for the Humane Society, they say, "Oh gosh, isn't that sad? Isn't that so hard to go there every day?" And it's really the opposite. It's a really happy place, because we see every day the love that we see, people in our staff loving these animals. And when an animal comes in our door, we know that their future is bright and that we're going to find the right family for them. So really, it's such a happy place. We have staff and volunteers that provide training. They are affectionate. We socialize the animals. We have play groups. We have play yards at our facility, and we have different play groups that are organized based on the animal's personalities so that they get exercise. Like I said, it's a really happy place. We have trainers that are trained to train animals and to use positive methods for helping animals to learn how to trust humans again, because some of the animals that come to us have been through a lot of traumatic events in their lives. And so teaching them how to trust humans is a really important part of the work that we do. Just a few statistics. We usually have about 140 residents at a time. The average length of stay is 55 days. So as I said, sometimes we might have an animal that stays longer, that might have some limitations that other animals don't, like they may not get along as well with other animals. And that's another way that we differentiate ourselves from the city shelter, is that somebody can't just walk in any day and adopt an animal. And I'll talk a little bit more about adoption in a minute. But we have 125 volunteers every week that come and help us walk and socialize the animals. You know, that's so important that they get outside and get exercise. And that's another part of being at the Humane Society that's so heartwarming, is seeing these dog walkers. You know, I arrive at work and there are wonderful volunteers standing outside walking dogs in the rain, in the snow, and they're dedicated and they know how much those animals need their time outside and that extra attention, and they're there to offer it, and it's really special. We also have about 50 foster families that volunteer to take care of animals that can't be in the shelter during a given time. And a perfect example of that is puppies and kittens. We don't keep puppies and kittens in the building because if they haven't had all of their series of shots yet. So they stay with foster families until once they've completed their rounds of shots, then they can come and stay in the shelter. But we have about 50 foster families. But I'll tell you this, that's been just really, really wonderful during the challenging times that we're experiencing right now, is we've had more than 75 families step up and foster animals. Because, you know, when I talked about our volunteers, we of course suspended the volunteer program at the beginning of the kind of COVID outbreak, and so we haven't had those extra hands helping us with animals at the facility. So there were a lot of foster families that stepped up and took healthy animals so that they could be housed, to allow the staff that's in the building to be able to manage the animals that were still there, those that need the most medical attention, and those that have some other kinds of limitations that keep them where they're not a great fit for foster. And so it's been really great to see the community come together and let our animals stay with them while they've been safer at home. So that's been really special, and they're starting to slowly kind of come back into the building as we kind of adapt through the phases. And then we place between 700 and 1,000 animals annually into homes. So those are some good positive statistics, and we actually expect that number to rise this year. Our veterinarian is new. We haven't always had a veterinarian on staff. We've kind of paid veterinarians to come in on their off days, and so we've kind of pieced it together in that way. And we, are so appreciative of the work from our community veterinarians that have, worked for us on this kind of on the side. But it's been really positive for us to have our own veterinarian on staff, and it's really increased the number of animals that we're able to serve. So that's our rescue. The types of animals that come to us, injured and abused animals. So if somebody finds an animal that's been hit by a car or has some other type, or in a field, and like the stories that you probably hear, we take those animals. We take stray animals as we have space. We also take quite a few transfers from the city shelter. So animals that are in danger of euthanasia or that are critical medical cases. The Memphis Animal Shelter will call us and say, can you take such and such animal? We'll bring them to you, and they'll do that, and we'll care for those animals. If we have 8 open kennels, then we'll call the Memphis Animal Shelter or Collierville or one of our other municipal shelters and say, okay, we have some space. Let us come take some animals off your hands. So we take animals that way. And then we also take owner surrenders, and owner surrenders, I think, it's a really important part of our mission, because when you first hear about it, you think, oh, well, who would give their pet away? But you'd be surprised how many people find themselves in a position where they can't care for a pet anymore. And we're so thankful that we're able to offer a place of refuge for them. We've had people that have found themselves with serious illnesses that don't have any way to care for their animal. They don't have a family member. And someone who's had a pet in their life for 10 plus years, to have to hand them over is really hard. And so I don't know, that's an important part of our mission, that we're able to do that and people know that they're going to a good place. In terms of adoptions, I talked to you about the number that we usually place. Our adoption process is very thorough to ensure that the animal and the owner are a good fit. We always are willing to accept a return of an animal, especially that was adopted from us for whatever the reason. But we want to reduce the amount of times that happens. We want the owner to be happy with the animal and make sure that the adopter and the animal has the same energy level, and that, if the person interested in adopting has an animal, that they can bring that animal in for a meet and greet and make sure that their pets get along with the prospective pet, as well as children. So we do a vet check and we do a landlord check as well, to make sure that our animals are placed into the right home. In terms of education, as I mentioned, we visit schools. Like I said, we think it's really important that children learn and are taught about responsible pet ownership, because that's the best way, we think, to break the cycle of animal homelessness and abuse. We attend local events to educate the community. We have a summer camp every summer for 4 weeks, which is postponed as of now, but we do that, and that's a really great event, and the kids really enjoy it, as do the animals. We attend career events to talk about careers in veterinary care, and then, as I said, we do have a thorough adoption process. So we offer adoption counseling to make sure that people understand what the financial obligations of having a pet is, and the time commitment, and all of those good things. And as I mentioned, we serve Memphis in a lot of ways. In the low-cost vaccine clinics, we offer low-cost spay-neuter services. And this is something that's really great, a great new initiative. And we just received a nice grant for it that we're really excited about. But we partner with a rescue group that goes out into the community and identifies and pets that are in homes where the owners would not be able to afford to have their animals spayed or neutered. And they transport and bring those animals to us, and then we spay and neuter them so that they can go back. Because, even the most responsible pet owner in the world that has an animal that is not spayed or neutered, they get away. I mean, I work for the Humane Society, and my dog sneaks out of the fence every once in a while, and it's good that he's neutered. And so to prevent growth in the homeless population in pets in Memphis. So we offer that. We offer low-cost dog training. We offer comfort visits to seniors. We regularly visit several retirement homes where we take animals and visit with the residents there. That's really fun. And then we are a member of the Shelby County Emergency Management Animals and Disaster Committee. So if there was a tornado or some other type of disaster, COVID, at one point could have been fit in, and not that COVID isn't a disaster, but where if animals are without homes, or people lose their homes to where they can't care for an animal, that we would be participating in how do we get those animals housed and taken care of. So those are some of the ways that we serve Memphis. We're also there's an animal welfare coalition of the city shelters that we're involved in. And for example, during this COVID pandemic, we've partnered with those shelters to create a pet food pantry for Memphis and Shelby County residents, and really members of the community, our surrounding communities, that if they lost their job and couldn't afford to feed their animal, we are providing food for them. Our mission is to save the lives of animals that have been injured, abused, and neglected, to prevent animal cruelty, and to enrich the human experience through animal companionship. And I think that the last part is one of the most important pieces, because one thing that I always say about working for the Humane Society is that we're really special because we help animals and we help people. That is one of the most beautiful things about being involved, is seeing what these animal companions do for their owners and the relationships and love that they share, and being able to make that possible for 1,000 people a year is really special. So that's our mission. And in terms of supporting the Humane Society this year and any time in the future, we of course welcome that. Like I said, we are funded completely by donors. Our operations are expensive. We have a veterinarian. Those are needs that we have. So, we always welcome support. And we are the kind of critical organization in the Memphis community that's working to break the cycles of cruelty and neglect and inhumane animal treatment. We have a very proactive, while we have our rescue and adoption is reactive to a lot of the problems, we also have a lot of proactive initiatives where our vision is a community with no animal homelessness, if not very minimal. And we believe that we'll get there one day. So that's the Humane Society in a nutshell. I know that's a lot of information very quickly, but we do a lot. We do good work. So I'm always happy. I'm always excited to share it with members of the community. And I'm happy to answer any questions that anybody has.
Thank you, Katherine. I've actually got a few questions that came in while you were talking.
Yeah.
A couple people have asked, what's the mix of dogs versus cats? Is it pretty equally split, or is there one that you prefer or typically work with?
No, we typically have about 80 or 90 dogs, and then usually about 50 cats on average. It varies, but we serve both and are equipped to serve both. And it's kind of fun, like in terms of like volunteers and staff, you have there are some people that love both, but then you really have your people that love cats and your people that love dogs. So we have a great mix of both, but we have more dogs, I would say, but not by a huge margin.
Thank you. Another question we received was, what kind of regular collaboration do you have with the city shelter? And do you plan jointly with them on occasion?
Yes, we do. So recently, I guess in 2020, the community has formed the Shelby County Animal Welfare Coalition, and so that is the Memphis Animal Shelter, and then Germantown, Collierville, and so some of the other kind of suburb municipal shelters, and then the Memphis Animal Shelter, and then us. We're the only non-municipal member, but we do work with them because we all have the same goal. While the city shelters operate differently than we do, the leadership in those organizations are animal advocates, and they're working hard to reduce the euthanasia rates in their shelters. And so, they work in the interest of animal welfare. And so we do partner with them. A great example, two examples. One is the food pantry. We partnered with the Memphis Animal Shelter on the food pantry during the pandemic, wanting to keep animals in homes, wanting people to be able to keep their pets even under financial hardship. And so we are continuing to collect and provide food for that effort. And also, as I mentioned, we intake animals from the Memphis Animal Shelter. They, like I said, they want to keep they are required to take in any animal that is brought to them. So they can have times where they have a really high volume of animals. And so like when if we have space, we will contact them and we work closely with them to try and take animals from them when we can, which is often.
Thank you. And one more question that was submitted was, have you experienced an increased demand for adopting pets during the pandemic as folks are seeking companionship and maybe have more time on their hands?
Yes, that is absolutely true. And it's one thing that's really kind of fun. So I mentioned that we've had this just really wonderful outpouring of agreement and interest in taking in foster animals. As I said, in order for us to operate with just our staff and without the volunteers, we needed to reduce the number of animals in the shelter during the pandemic. And so we've had a lot of foster fails. That's what we call it, when somebody fosters an animal and then they adopt it, because that means they kind of failed as being a foster and said, we can't give them back. So we've had a lot of foster fails, which is really cool. And then we're doing adoptions by appointment right now, just because as the animals are still kind of in foster, the foster family needs to bring them to meet the prospective families. It's complicated, but it's working. But well, I mean, we are like back to back hour by hour booked with adoption appointments. And I mean, we've adopted out a lot of animals, and that's been really, really great.
Excellent. Another question that was just submitted was, how can one donate food to the pantry? Do you prefer direct food donations, or is it like the Mid-South Food Bank where a monetary donation might go a little bit farther?
So actually, to be honest, a monetary donation does go farther because we are able to purchase food at a kind of commercial rate, as a large organization. So monetary is better. But we absolutely accept food donations of actual physical food. So if someone wanted to bring food, they can take it to our facility on Farm Road, and there is a door called intake where it says intake, and you can just leave it outside that door and somebody will get it. It's covered. But monetary donations are always so incredibly welcome, and those donations someone can reach out to me, or you can donate at memphishumane.org, which is our website. And then if anybody that has social media, you can follow us on Facebook and Instagram and Twitter. You can get our contact information that way too. But we have a website, and that is memphishumane.org. But that's it. If you wanted to share my contact information, please feel free to do that, and anyone can contact me directly.
Thank you. I think everybody can turn off their muting if they want to. Are there any other questions that you have for Katherine? Show of hands. I don't know if I can see everybody. I think I can.
Yeah.
Let's see. Take it off speaker view.
I think I did. But I can't see everybody else. I mean, I can see everybody else who's present. Yeah, Rick?
Let me, 1 second.
I think I got you. We can hear you.
Can you hear me? Okay. Yeah, I was glad to see that y'all do work in bringing animals to the senior centers, like the assisted living facility. Now that they're in lockdown, is there any way that you can still have that interaction between the dogs and cats and the residents of senior facilities?
So physically right now, no, because, and we're actually in talks of trying to figure out, is there a virtual way, like similar to Zoom, that we could work with our our assisted living partners and find a way to offer a way to do something, even if we did some kind of something virtually through outdoors or, but the thing about an animal is that COVID can live on an animal just like it can on your countertop. So while there have been a few like tiny cases, very rare that an animal would actually have COVID, but we do have to treat the animal just like anything else that I would touch and someone else would touch. So until further notice, we are not able to go into those facilities, but unfortunately, because those are just really wonderful business that we have.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was afraid that was your answer. Thank
I
you.
know it's so rewarding for the animals and the people. So we're obviously staying very in tune to guidelines and advice on that, and we'll do that as soon as we know that it's truly safe.
Thank you. Nancy, I think I
Thank
see
you.
you have a question.
I don't know if I'm muted or not.
I can hear you.
No.
Okay, cool. Thank you, first of all, for everything you've done. I think it's awesome, and we're in High Point Terrace, and I think you get a lot of play out of our neighborhood. But I wanted to know if there is an equivalent to what you all do for horses in the area.
You know, I don't know of a Humane Society level horse rescue. I do know, there's the Center for Equine Therapy that does good work with horses. And I do think that there's a horse rescue maybe in North Mississippi, but I'm not sure. But I can find out and let you know.
I'm curious and wanted, there are horses that need rescuing too, and you never hear about it, but every now and then you'll hear about a horse rescue, and I just wanted to know if there was one nearby.
I know that there's a gentle farm is what they call it in Nashville, but I think there is a horse rescue. I'm going to write that down on my list to ask. And if
Thank you.
I find a good answer, I will send it to Will. How about that?
That'd be great.
Would that work?
Got it.
Yeah, perfect. Thank you.
Okay.
Any other questions for Katherine?
Thank you, Katherine.
No,
It was very
thank you.
interesting. Yeah.
You're welcome.
And expansive. Yeah, it's nice to see the cooperative element that you have with the city of Memphis as well, particularly, because that's had a trial and error over years, as we know.
That's true, but that's right. But I don't know. Like I said, we are all working together, and I hope we can really truly see a better future.
Yeah.
When it comes to animal welfare. So
So
hopefully.
I'm just wondering about volunteers when they come out and walk during COVID and stuff, walk the dogs. I mean, do you have to sanitize in a special way, and you actually wipe down the dogs, or what? I mean, what do you do?
We've suspended the dog walking volunteer program right now. But that's a good question. When come in from their foster, that's one of the first things that has to happen is for them to give them baths. That's been a whole nother level of responsibility that's gone along with this. I mean, we always bathe the animals when they need it, but every animal, when they've been handled by an outside party, then we do bathe them, because like I said, they could be
exactly.
So, yes, and we're actually talking about maybe as a part of when Memphis enters into phase 3, reinstating the volunteer program on a graduated basis, and that would be a part of it. We would probably have fewer volunteers at a time, and then there would be additional cleaning protocols with that as well.
Gotcha. Good. Yeah. I used to do a lot of fundraising, so I really appreciate what you do and how you reach out and all the education that goes along with it. And,
Oh, well, thank you. So yes, you understand. It's wonderful work.
I do.
And I love being involved with the community and talking to people like you guys. So that's great, but it's hard work. It's hard work too.
We
But for a great cause.
exactly. Yeah.
Thank you again for coming out. Coming out tonight is my standard line, but we appreciate you joining us this evening. I hope you will come out and join us.
Thank you for having me. I'm excited with how many of you guys logged in to hear what I had to say. So thank you for listening and being interested. I appreciate it.
Absolutely.
Come see us in person when we are back.
I know. Hey, I'll come back anytime. Y'all just let me know.
I
Good.
will.
We'd like to thank you too. We've been there and we've seen the work before. We almost had a dog from there one time. Instead, we got that one instead.
Oh.
Who we rescued from, well, we won't say how we rescued her. But we have a few rescue dogs within our family, and it's kind of close to our heart too.
Oh, that's great. That's great. Well, I can tell that your dog is in a great home. He or she looks very, 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 very content and happy.
Yeah, she sleeps a lot sometimes.
Hey, you know what? That's okay. I love to see a dog just in full sleep, comfortable and happy. That's a great thing.
She's a very aggressive pit bull, as you can see.
Right.
Have we had difficulty in Memphis and Shelby County with struggles about ordinances about pit bulls and stuff? Because some communities, I mean, where our son lives, I mean, they really do not want pit bulls. I don't think they understand the basic nature of some dogs, and there's been a reaction to violent pit bulls. Yeah.
We have not. We do get people that come in that have formed opinions about pit bulls, and we work around that. And if somebody doesn't want a pit bull, that's okay. We have lots of pit bulls, but we have not run into trouble with any ordinances.
That's good.
With that.
We actually almost got a pit bull mix from Humane Society before we got Blue, and we also, when we chose where we were getting our lake house, there were places that said they do not accept pit bulls. So it's kind of interesting seeing. It's about the dog. Usually, it's about the trainers more than it's about the dog, because the pit bulls are Blue's a very affectionate, loving dog.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
People here in downtown.
Exactly.
And are very afraid of her, and which was no reason. She doesn't even know how to bite anybody. So
right. It really is as you guys clearly already know, it is really on an animal basis, and I don't know. That's something that we definitely pride ourselves on, is that we really get to know the animals really well, and can speak to the nature of an animal. And a lot of times many pit bulls are completely wonderfully natured animals. And so it's sad to see those incorrect notions about the breed.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
it really is. But we have lots of wonderful pit bull adopters. So, we don't have trouble. Don't have a hard time finding homes at the Humane Society. That's good news.
Good.
Mm-hmm.
I think I actually see one more hand again from Will. Was that you? Have you got a?
Hey, so I know we've got the COVID going on right now, but when are we looking at another fundraiser for the Humane Society?
And how do they do it?
And how do they do it?
Okay, so our next fundraiser is going to be our next big fundraiser. Little fundraisers all the time. Like we do kind of online fundraisers about, stories on specific animals, but which I'll be putting one of those out this week on a dog named Bonnie that we just took in. But our next big fundraiser, we have a gala in August every year called the Paw Prints Gala. And it's typically at a venue, 350 people, auction, all that good stuff. But this year we are actually revamping that naturally because we just don't know what the environment's going to be like, and we don't know what people's willingness is going to be or interest is going to be in a gala function. But so what we're going to do is offer it's going to be kind of a drive-through party. People come in and we put together food and decorations and a package of lots of fun things, and people can purchase their own kind of party package and then have their own kind of celebration at home. So that's our next big fundraiser. Then we also have, starting in June, we have a photo contest for our calendar. And so we do an annual calendar, and there will be a photo contest. It'll be online, where people can submit a picture of their pet or a pet of their choice, and then they can vote and encourage friends and family to vote as a fundraiser. And then the 12 animals, dogs or cats, with the most votes will be the 12 animals featured in the calendar. And so that's a good fundraiser for us. And then we have a poker tournament in the fall. So we'll have a poker tournament in October, which is really fun. And we're hoping that people can get back together for that in terms of gatherings, but we'll take the proper steps that we need to be safe and healthy with it. So we'll figure that out as we get closer. But yeah, our Paw Prints Gala is our largest fundraiser of the year. And as a fundraiser, it's a big project for me and my team, figuring out how do we replace that and under a circumstance where people probably wouldn't want to gather in a setting that tight.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Awesome.
Challenge. Big
challenge, but you know what, we're going to figure it out.
You're up for it.
We're up for it. Exactly. And you never know when we might stumble upon a new creative idea that we wouldn't have thought of otherwise. So our minds open and staying positive.
So about that calendar, can you have more than one animal in the picture? What if you have 2 dogs?
You know,
Picture of them both.
I think you can. Okay, let me. I'll find out a list of answers.
Giving you all the tough questions.
Hey, you know what? That's okay.
So Will, when's dinner? I saw you tasting in the background there.
We made Thai green curry the other night. It's awesome.
All right.
Then our spice on.
Mm-hmm. Missing those brownies,
No, shush. You're gonna force my hand.
Mm-hmm.
Folks, I think we're kind of coming to the end here. I wanted to say again, thanks to Katherine for joining us. I really appreciate it. Y'all are doing such great work, and clearly I think everybody appreciates the effort that you put into taking care of our community in this special way. Without any further business to cover, I'll just say it's good to see you all, and we'll plan to meet again next week. Just to give you a preview, our speaker next week will be from the Light Foundation. If you'll remember last year, Charlotte connected us with that organization that has asked us to participate in their judging and entrepreneurial project promoted by local high school students, I believe. And so we're going to have some speakers coming from that organization next week, and they'll be asking us to weigh in and judge their projects again. As I have more information from Charlotte about that, I'll ask her to send it out or share it with me for distribution, so it's a little clearer what's coming forward. So that's next week, though. And then the week after that, we have Principal, who I typed his name down, and then Archie is his first name, but Archie Moss, who's the principal of Bruce Elementary, one elementary school on Bellevue that we have partnered with in the past and will plan to partner with in the future. He's going to join us and talk about the students that he works with and the communities he serves and the needs that they have that we can help address through our club. So that's coming up, and I'll keep y'all posted as I learn more about options for returning to the school. But for now, I still plan to meet on Zoom until I can find out otherwise. But with that, I'll say have a great week. It's good to see y'all, and I'll see y'all next Tuesday.
Thank you, everybody.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Good to see you, Will.
Good.
Bye-bye.
That's it.
I will.
First in, last out.
I know, right?
Right. See ya.